Okay, so you can see that I'll give an overview of different types of membrane systems and their corresponding ionic liquid which has been used, and what are the compounds which is getting separated. So they have membrane absorption. They use this membranes, particular membranes. They use it for absorption studies. You see that 1-butyl 3-methyl imidazolium tetrafluoroborate. They are using it for uh, absorption of propylene and absorption of propylene and propane. This has been studied by the scientist called Wortes. So similarly, you can see that membrane extraction. So they use a membrane and they incorporate this ionic liquid in the membrane, and they extracted all these compounds, even penicillin G, and you can see that hydroxybenzoic acid. All these compounds has been studied by different authors. So you can see that different authors, they have tried with this is the ionic liquid. First column is ionic liquid and their name, and it's a short name, and then compounds, type of compounds which has been separated, and the authors. Okay, so in this case you can see this membrane extractive distillation. 1 minute. Yeah, in the membrane extractive distillation, they tried with the different compounds, ionic liquids, with the different compounds which is getting separated, like toluene, N-heptane, water ethanol, water tetrahydrofuran, N-hexane, 1-hexane. This has been done by different authors. So you can see that, this is, we have our work also reported, tri-N-octyl methyl ammonium chloride. It is called as TOMAC. It's one of the ionic liquid which we have used in our my PhD studies. It is for extraction of benzimidazole. Benzimidazole is a heterocyclic aromatic compound which is used for antibacterial activity. So that has been tried in my research level. I have published in Chemical Engineering Journal in 2009. We have tried with trioctyl methyl ammonium chloride. And you can see that membrane pervaporization technique, they are employed with different compounds, and they have come out with the results. Acetone, butanol from water which has been separated, membrane vapor separation, and membrane gas separation, which has been tried with different compounds and different ionic liquids. Okay, now come to the issues. What are the issues related to the use of ionic liquids? So number one, if you go to the market and you ask for a particular ionic liquid, which may not be heard of, many people may not be heard of. So even if you go to the Sigma Aldrich or you go to the many companies, they say that if you have an innovative ionic liquid, they don't have, because it is an ionic liquid is evolving day by day. So because of the cations and anions, you can put it together by the synthesis reaction and you can develop. So most of the ionic liquids are synthesized in a organic synthesis reactions, and it has been used by the scientists. So the first problem with the ionic liquid is lack of availability. So you cannot have a specialized ionic liquid. So if you have a common ionic liquid which are available in the market, whereas in the you have a specialized ionic liquid which you have to synthesize yourself. So you have to know the procedure for synthesis of ionic liquids, and you have to work on that, and you have to synthesize. If you're able to synthesize, then you have to see the property, then you have to use that material for the studies. So first thing, lack of availability of the material is there in the market. Second one, the cost of synthesis. The cost of synthesis is huge. So because even go to the market and you can buy the suppliers, the cost of the ionic liquid is very high. So if you take it 5 gram or 10 gram of ionic liquid, it will be costing around 20,000 or 40,000. So that is the main issues in the availability of the ionic liquid. And come to the other reported issues, which are like lack of toxicity data, right? Toxicity data is nothing but your how it affects the humans, or how it affects the it is not having, we have LD50 studies are there. When you go for pharmacopic studies and all. So you consume it with a rat or consume it with other animals, and we develop some toxicity studies. That data is not available explicitly for all the ionic liquids. So lack of toxicity data, which is very important, because that data is required for handling of the material. So some of the common ionic liquids which are available in the literature, but new type of ionic liquids, the data is missing. So that is very important issues in the ionic liquid. So most of the ILs are not biodegradable. That is another important point which has to be keep in mind. So most of the ILs are not biodegradable. You cannot able to biodegrade. So the issues are the opportunities for the scientists to work on it. So we have toxicity data doesn't available. So maybe if you are interested, you can start working on the ionic liquid and take ionic liquid, and if you find out whether the toxicity data is available or not, then you may work on that particular area and you can come out with data and you can publish. That could be possible. So any issues opens the opportunities also. So most of the IL doesn't biodegrade, so you can able to work on that. Is there any other possible microorganism which is there we can able to degrade the ionic liquid? That is a possibility. And other important thing is high cost. It's a non-availability, which I said already. And these are all the most issues which is faced by the scientists. So most of the scientists, you can see the literature, you see the data, they synthesize themselves. They synthesize and they use it for their studies. Okay, so that is the these are all the issues which opens the scope for the further studies. So how we can the next important thing is how we can recover, how we can degrade. So how you can degrade the ionic liquid? So any chemical which is need to be degraded, and it has to be disintegrated, or it has to be consumed, it has to be properly disposed into the environment. So we have reported methodologies, which is their degradation method of ILs in wastewater. So if it is there in the wastewater, suppose you are using it in a particular process, it is coming out as a waste, and you have to dispose. And dispose has to be done in some methods, reported method, that is called advanced. You have a advanced oxidation process and you have biodegradation. It is not much scope is there in this side, and advanced oxidation process wherein you can have chemical degradation, and you have photochemical degradation and electrochemical degradation. So in this category, you can able to split this material, and you can ozonation, Fenton reaction, all this.
Professor Venkatesan sir, your voice is not audible.
Okay. 1 minute, sir. I think it is my mic is gone down. That is what. Is it okay now? Stalin sir, is it okay now? Any participant, is it okay for hearing you? Is it audible? Okay, I hope it is reaching everybody. So we have methods like photochemical degradation. You can use UV, and you can hydrogen peroxide, and you can use ultrasound techniques, which will disintegrate. Sometimes you can use a heat as a medium. It's a thermal medium by which you can able to disintegrate the ionic liquids. Thereby you can able to reduce the length of the chains. That could be possible. Okay. And then okay, so my topic of research, I just wanted to give an overview about my area of research, that is in the liquid membrane and its application. So because I told already, it is a liquid membrane. It has been different classifications like bulk ionic liquid membrane, emulsion liquid membrane. In this one category which we are working on, it is a liquid membrane and its application. So I'll give some broad application of the liquid membrane. So again, is it okay? Is it audible, sir? Stalin sir, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes,
it
sir.
is audible, sir. Everybody are unable to speak because of sir has muted. Now only
Okay.
he is unmuted. You are audible. Now you can proceed, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So my area of research, I've been working on liquid membrane. Now I have started
लिक्विड मेम्ब्रेन पे पढ़ा रहे हैं
so my research, which were so my the liquid membrane and its application. So I just to give an overview about my PhD work. Then I'll come to what I'm doing right now. Okay. So the liquid membrane and its application. So generally, the liquid membrane is nothing but liquid phase existing either in supported or unsupported form that serves as a membrane barrier between two phases. Okay. So the membrane, it may be a solid or it may be supported membrane containing organic liquid and carrier. Okay. Stalin sir. Stalin sir, I get some disturbance. Please, can you mute?
म्यूट सर Sir, I think speaker is also muted.
Muted. Okay. Now it's okay.
Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So the liquid membrane, it is existing in either in supported or unsupported form that serves as the membrane barrier between two phases. So if it is a supported, it will be like a solid liquid membrane, and if it is unsupported, it may be in the form of liquid. Okay, so if it is in supported means you have a membrane matrix, and inside that pores you can able to fill that material. It may be organic liquid or it may be a carrier. Carrier may be ionic liquid or any other ligands also. So you have a source phase one side and you have a receiving phase other side. So the liquid membrane process is an combine the extraction and the stripping into a single stage, and thus having non-equilibrium mass transfer characteristics where the separation is not limited by the conditions of equilibrium, because it like reactive extraction. So whatever the material we are keeping here, that will react and it has been back react and it has been separated. So that is what it has non-equilibrium mass transfer characteristics that gives rise to you can able to completely remove the material, completely extract. That could be possible. Okay, so this type of liquid membrane, in the liquid membrane, you have a bulk liquid membrane, emulsion liquid membrane, supported liquid membrane, contained liquid membrane. Okay, so you see that bulk liquid membrane, you have a beaker-like arrangement, and you can see that you have a barrier, and in the bottom you have organic membrane containing the carrier, and it has been split into 3 compartments. Okay, so one is in the top of it is the receiving phase, one is the source phase, and the bottom is in your membrane phase. Okay, so from the source phase it goes to the membrane phase and it goes to the receiving phase. This is called bulk liquid membrane. So this arrangements like you can see this U-tube arrangement. It is like a compartment arrangement. You can see that in the bottom, in the U-tube, 2 legs in the bottom you can have a membrane, and the legs you have one side is a feed, other side is a strip phase. So this way you can able to separate the compound from the feed into the membrane, again into the strip phase. That is the definition. That is the working of your working of bulk liquid membrane. So bulk liquid membrane usually consists of aqueous feed and stripping phase separated by bulk organic liquid membrane phase. It is in simplest form. This technique can be carried out in a U-tube configuration in the laboratory. So the next one is Oh, sorry. Yeah. Second one is the emulsion liquid membrane. You see that you create an emulsion. Emulsion is nothing but ELMs, maybe in water, organic water type of material, or organic water, organic type form. In the middle phase, essentially the liquid membrane phase. You see that this is actually the source phase. S is the source phase, and the outer is the middle black phase is an membrane phase, and you can see the fade phase outside. So this this middle phase is a thin shell around the droplets where the continuous phase and the core of the droplet are the same phase. You can see that the feed phase and the source phase will be the same. Maybe it's it may be a oil, means if the feed phase is oil, then the source phase is also oil. If it is a water, then the source phase is also water. That is what oil. Okay, so wherein you can able to separate the compound which is there in the feed phase into the source phase. The feed phase volume will be large and the source phase volume will be very less. Okay, so thereby you can separate and you can concentrate. That could be possible. So in the membrane phase, you can keep your ligands or keep your ionic liquid or any other carrier material so that it will extract and it will
Sir, you are not audible.
ஸ்பீக்கர் அவர் அன்மியூட் பண்ணோம். பெட்ரோ வச்சோடி இல்ல நம்ம தான் இது வரும் அச்சோடி
சர்ச் போடுங்க.
எதுல போடுங்க? அன்மியூட் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஆகல.
அவருக்கு கோபம் வருங்க. மெசேஜ் வரும். அவர் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணாதான் அனுப்பிப்பாரு.
அருள்மொழி understand. Host மாத்து. பண்ணிட்டேன்.
டைப் பண்ணுங்க. டைப் பண்ணுங்க. அன்மியூட் பண்ணுங்க.
Yeah, okay, okay. Unmute panta, madam. Sometimes it is getting muted. Adave mute aigide, madam. Oh, 1 minute.
You end போடுங்க over.
Sir, your
Okay, okay.
Professor Venkatesan sir, your screen is also not visible, sir. Please take this.
I'll share the screen, madam.
Okay.
Okay. Now it is okay. My screen is coming. Or not?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is okay, sir. Please put PowerPoint. The show power. It's slideshow, sir.
I'll just go to the particular slide where I'm discussing.
ஏய் இது அவர் பேசுறாரு.
Yeah, can you able to hear? Is it okay, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Please proceed, sir.
Okay, okay. The advantages of liquid membrane, which is having, these are all the points. The interfacial contact area is very high, and the high diffusive flux and low energy consumption and simple configuration. So used as a secondary tertiary treatment process for treating effluents down to the disposal arms. And you can recycle the material, could be possible. So time consumption is less than the conventional separation process like solvent extraction or distillation. It is a simple operation which is having higher efficiency. Treated streams could be used for some other process also. So this is the advantages. What are the applications? So these are the applications. Liquid. So we can do it for removal of toxic substance to the organic chemicals from dieffluents, and you can have purify the fermentation products, and you can able to separate the desalination of seawater, and you can able to prepare nanoparticles by ELM technique, one of the technique which has been used for preparation of nanoparticles. Oh, so these are all the characteristics which has been see the main problem with liquid membrane, that is ELM or BLM. The problem is this two method, it has been leakage, membrane swelling and leakage. That is a major problem that could be avoided in the supported liquid membrane, wherein you can employ the solid membrane and you can encapsulate the carrier or the ligand inside the pores. That is serves as a support for the membranes. Okay, so that could be eliminated because of this membrane cannot withstand for higher pressures, where that could be eliminated by the using supported liquid membrane. That is the main you can able to scale up through this supported liquid membrane, which is require a lot of experimental studies. Then you can go for scaling of the process. Okay, and you can supported liquid membrane, other liquid membrane can be converted into different types, hollow fiber modules or fiber modules and all. You can do it after scaling up, or you can okay, that could be possible. So in the liquid membrane, there could be a transport mechanism. It will be like a cationic support, and you have a cationic antiport, and you have a neutral species transport. So with the transport means both anions and cations will be transported together into the internal phase. Antiport means it is one cation is transport to inside, other cation is transport outside. So neutral species is nothing but it has simply into the membrane, and your material which goes into the membrane, and the membrane will transport into the internal phase. So this type of transport will be happened in oil phase. If you have oil outside, membrane is the water middle phase, oil is the inside phase. That type of material transport could be possible by the neutral species transport, wherein the cation is import antiport works on the aqueous phase. You can see that aqueous phase at the outside and inside. The membrane phase may be the oil phase, or maybe oil phase, or maybe it is a solid phase that you can use. So carriers or extractant is a material which is it is a complexing agent which is responsible for transport of the material, transport of the solute from the feed phase to the inside phase. So generally the membrane itself has no selectivity, and the high selectivity of the membrane comes from the extractant or carrier which you are using it in the liquid membrane phase. So you have a different types of carriers: acidic carrier, basic carrier, and solvating. carriers. So you have carriers like phosphinic acid, phosphoric acid, phosphenic acid, carboxylic acid, and you have some ionic liquid also. You can use tricapryl, methyl ammonium chloride, alamine, aliquat, adogen. These are all commercial name. Amberlite are good examples of basic carriers. And you have lot of ionic liquids which could be used for instead of these carriers. Okay, and you have a tributyl phosphate and topo and MIBK are most common commercial solvating carriers could be used. So these are all the. I just wanted to give an publication of my work, which is emulsion liquid membrane pertraction of benzimidazole using room temperature ionic liquid carrier. So we have done this, we have varied the different parameters which will affect the pertraction of benzimidazole from the aqueous solute, aqueous media into the, through the emulsion liquid membrane into the internal phase. And we have done all the parameters which will affect like a pH and treat ratio, steering speed, contact time, membrane stability, internal reagent concentration. You put some reagent into the internal phase, and that reagent concentration we have varied, and we have optimized that, and we have used the surfactant to form an emulsion. That concentration also we have optimized. That we have done, and we have published in this papers in Chemical Engineering Journal in 2009. And there is another paper which we have presented in a conference and also got published, that is emulsion liquid membrane pertraction of imidazole, that is benzimidazole. This is imidazole from aqueous solution by Aliquat 336. That is one of the carrier which has been used in tricapryl methyl ammonium chloride. That we have used it for our studies in the imidazole extraction using the emulsion liquid membrane technique. And recently we have worked with removal of phenolic compounds from aqueous solution by emulsion liquid membrane. That is actually, it is an emulsion ionic liquid membrane. So containing ionic liquid, that is 1-butyl 3-methyl imidazolium hexafluorophosphate. So that we coupled with this ionic liquid has been coupled with solvent that is called tributyl phosphate, and this mixture, this after coupling this two compound, we are putting it into the emulsion inside the emulsion, that we will made a stabilized emulsion. Then we used it, this emulsion, for the extraction studies. That has been got published in the recent desalination journal. And we have another scholar. This is one of my scholar has completed studies in the DST project. It's a part of the DST project which has been completed. Another work is that we have incorporated this ionic liquid with solvent in the emulsion, and here we have taken the ionic liquid in the tributyl phosphate. The solvent, we take it as a solvent membrane. We call it as a solvent membrane, and that is the membrane consists of tributyl phosphate with 1-butyl 3-methyl imidazolium hexafluoroborate. That we have made it as a complex. That complex has been used for extraction of phenols and chlorophenols from the wastewater, and we have reported. This is another candidate of mine. She has completed her research and has been published. So with this, this is the part of the work. Right now we have been working on phenolic pesticides. So we take phenolic pesticides for removal of phenolic pesticides from the aqueous medium, and we are working with one of my scholar. Okay, so this is my work. Thank you very much for your patient listening. If you have any questions, you can discuss with me. Thank you very much for the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Madam, please, madam.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you very much, Professor Venkatesan, for sharing an elaborative, extensive lecture on ionic liquids as well as liquid membranes. I wholeheartedly thank you for sharing your research experience. Audience, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we can leave for lunch and join for the next session by 2:30. Audience, if there are any doubts, please ask. Professor is waiting. So if there are no queries from the participant side, Professor, I thank you wholeheartedly for sharing your experience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
So participants, the next session will be by 2:30 on general aspects of health and mental health and physical health of the participants. So it will be shared by Professor Gopinath. So we can join again by 2:30 through the same link. Thank you so much.